What's going on, everybody? Coach Deep, Desi dating coach, ethnic dating coach. All right, so this video covers really the fact, right? Because it is a fact out here in the West, right? I'm in the United States, and it's a fact in Canada, UK, uh, Australia, places, westernized countries, you can call them. Um, the fact that South Asian, and Middle Eastern men are at a disadvantage when it comes to dating, right? Um, and how to deal with it, right? Because at the end of the day, having a disadvantage doesn't mean it's the end of the world, right? Life still moves on. You're still here alive, and if you're watching this, you're a straight guy who's attracted to women. So you got to do something about it, right? You can't just like sit around and like hope that one day you're not South Asian or Asian or Arab or whatever, right? And so I teach guys how to really embrace themselves, all right, regardless of your race or your ethnicity, and how to deal with some of these disadvantages, all right. Um, so the first real disadvantage that South Asian guys, especially, and Asian guys too, have is so many negative stereotypes when it comes to just being social beings. All right. So if you turn on the TV, um, and I think it's gotten worse actually with social media, right? Because when I was younger, when you turned on the TV, any type of representation of an Indian dude was Apu or fucking um, someone who's like really geeky, like playing some geeky tech role or a geeky doctor or a geeky accountant or something like that, right? Or some kid getting beat up at school or something like that, right? This was the stereotype of the Indian man, right? And it's progressed where like there's this push and pull with it now, right? Where on social media now it's even worse, right? It's now all Indians smell. Indian guys are disgusting. Indian guys are this. Indian guys are that, right? And there's a similar to Asian men as well, but let's focus in on Indian men. Indian men cover South Asian men, right? Pakistani, Bangladeshi, Sri Lankan, because nobody's really going to know the difference, right? I can't even tell the difference at the time between the Indian. When I see an Indian guy or Sri Lankan guy, I'm not going to be able to tell which one is which until I start talking to them, right? Until maybe I hear a name or something along those lines, or just ask sometimes, right? I have to just ask. But point is that there's a lot of negative stereotypes associated with being a South Asian dude. All right, and it definitely hurts your dating life, right? Compared to other races, right? Compared to other races, right? And I'm focusing on social aspects of being a human being because there's a lot of people don't understand this, right? Because a lot of people are fucking morons. They're retarded, and their heads are actually should be in the sand and fucking suffocating and fucking die, right? But the reality is part of being a human being, part of being alive here in existence, is a social layer to it. All right, there's so many layers of being a human being, and one of them is a social layer, and it's just a necessity as human beings, right? To survive, to keep producing, right? To be in existence. Part of it has to be social, right? So in this social layer, South Asian men, Asian men, in the West are portrayed as either smelly or weak or timid or not masculine or geeky or weird or creepy. Um, things, anything along those lines, unattractive, pretty much. All right. Um, and someone can find you unattractive, right? That's okay. Like I find plenty of chicks unattractive. Like I'm not attracted to black chicks. Okay. So that's me, right? But if we see that constantly on social media, right, where all black chicks are disgusting, black chicks have this type of hair, they smell this way, that way, that's going to be considered racism. All right. But for some reason, when it's happened to South Asian men or even Asian men, it's not considered racism for some reason. we're just living in a weird time period right now with weird expectations and weird kind of standards. Okay, so being a South Asian dude, yes, right now you are going through a fucking shit of a time on social media with all the negative stereotypes and the jokes and I hate Indian, we hate Indian dudes, or whatever it may be. All right. Um, and again, yes, that's definitely going to negatively affect your fucking dating life. All right. Um, so what do you do about that, right? Because you always want to be yourself at the end of the day, right? You don't want to try to be somebody else. You always want to be yourself, right? Because that's who you're comfortable being, right? So if you fit into the mold of one of these little stereotypes, like you're kind of geeky or you're kind of timid, right? That's okay, but you still gotta work on the other areas of your life that will make you more attractive. That can be a part of your life, right? So, like working out, right? That's the most common sense one that pretty much every dating coach is going to tell you. Everybody's going to tell you, right? Even if they're not a dating coach, is hitting the gym. Hitting the gym, everybody knows this. This is a worldwide thing, whether it's in India or in fucking Korea or in fucking Italy or in fucking Zimbabwe or here in the United States. A guy who works out looks better, right? So you could be a geek, you could be timid, you could be awkward, right? But if you work out, you got this much more of an advantage than you just had prior to not working out, right? Not hitting the gym regularly, all right? So that's definitely one thing. And yeah, I'm South Asian myself. I'm a South Asian background myself, all right? So I have plenty of advice and tips and really things that will work for South Asian men, right? So definitely reach out to me and I'll give you the whole breakdown on what to do to make yourself not completely into the mold of these stereotypes, but still be yourself, right? And same applies to Asian men and Arab men, right? Asian men get the whole, they're weak, they're timid, they're short, they got little dicks, um, you know, uh, so all these are just stereotypes, right? Um, Arab men that they're all Muslims and they're all terrorists, or they're only going to marry Muslim women and they're going to try to make you wear a hijab or something like that, right? So same applies to them. All right. And again, this is something that's not happening to other racial groups, right? It doesn't happen to Latino men. It doesn't happen to black men. It doesn't happen to Polynesian men. All right. It is only these few ethnicities that it's going on with, right? Um, and really, another part of it is having more self respect in who you are and your background, right? So that doesn't mean you got to walk around and like, I'm not religious, right? I was actually brought up in a Hindu household, right? So my family's Hindu, but I don't believe in any religion, right? And that's okay. I don't have to be religious, right? I'm in the United States of America, and I'm also proud to be an American as well. And one of the freedoms I have here in America is I don't have to believe any fucking religion I don't want to, right? But the point I'm trying to get is I don't disown my own ethnicity either, because my race, my name, right? I'm Coach Deep. My full name is an Indian name, right? Um, I would never give that up, right? I always definitely proclaim myself as Indian American or being of Indian descent, or something along those lines, because again, I don't give up my own ethnicity out of some type of social pressure or some type of embarrassment, right? And that's something else that a lot of you guys need to focus in on, right? Is you can be proud of your ethnicity and not go around and practice every stereotypical thing someone of your ethnicity is doing, right? So if you're an Arab guy, you don't have to be a Muslim, right? But you could just be an Arab American, right? It's okay, right? So again, having that confidence in yourself, right? In your makeup, right? And just being okay with it, right? Being okay with your name and being okay with whatever, right? Um, Another thing, right? And a lot of guys don't realize this, and a lot of Indian and Asian men do this specifically. and it's something that really needs to get worked on, right? Stop simping, right? Um, if you're in the West, we are a part of this culture right now, right? That is all about like either you are a simp or you're an alpha male or you're this or you're that, right? And I don't like to go into the extremes of any of these fucking places, right? But simping meaning, okay, like we are in 2020 fucking six, motherfuckers, all right? Women want equality, so we give them equality, right? So you don't need to go around defending women for everything and thinking that's going to get you laid. That's not going to get you laid. That's going to turn you into a little bitch for women. Right? That's what that's going to do for you. You're not going to be respected by women. What's going to end up happening is you're going to get used by women to be their little bitch and their little fucking little puppet. All right. So I see this with Indian guys a lot, right, and Asian guys, right. Don't suck up to women. Don't kiss their feet. All right. Part of being in the West is really as a person of our ethnicities is growing some balls and realizing like no, we're not bowing down to women, especially considering the fact that how badly Indian, Asian, Arab men or whatever are portrayed in media. All right. So the last thing we need to do is start bowing down to women now. All right. So that's something a lot of you guys need to be careful of, especially I see my Indian guys doing this a lot. Some of it comes from Hinduism, right? Some of it comes from all these goddesses in Hinduism, and feminism is spread rapidly out in India. I've seen that. I definitely seen that. And I see it with the women that come over here. So that's something else you guys want to focus on. All right. Another thing is just having confidence that you can get any woman you want, right? Regardless of stereotypes, regardless of what people are saying, right? Regardless of some fucking Mexican is saying out in Texas or out in California, or some fucking white dude is saying out in fucking Florida or out in fucking Tennessee, or some fucking black motherfucker is saying out in Philly or New York, right, about you. Fuck them, all right? What you need to focus on is if you're attracted to women, right, and you want women, that's all you need to do is realize that you can get these women regardless of their race, regardless if they're white or they're Latino or they're whatever they may be, right, that you can have them, right? So, again, ignoring the bullshit, right, ignoring the fucking retardation and just focusing in, zoning in on the fact that what you want, you need to go after, all right? So, because everybody's going to be attracted to their own thing. If you like white chicks, you like white chicks. If you like Chinese chicks, you like Chinese chicks. If you like fucking Jamaican chicks, you like Jamaican chicks, right? Me as a coach, right, and you can ask any of my students this, right? Whatever type of women they like is what we try to focus in on, right? I never discourage a dude, oh, don't date a fucking black chick because they're not attractive, right? I don't say shit like that to my students, all right? Whatever type of chicks that you're interested in is the ones that we go after, right? So, and the final thing, location matters. If you're an Indian guy, if you're a Chinese guy, a fucking Middle Eastern guy, right? Certain cities you're not going to do as well in. Certain regions, especially here in America, right? Certain regions you're not going to do well in, right? And it just means relocating, right? I'd say combined with Asian, Arab, and Indians, South Asians, I'd say maybe close to 5 to 8% of the whole population, right? That's not a lot, right? So, you got to navigate to what's going to suit you, right? Because you can't change your surroundings all the time, right? You can only control where you can go and what's going to benefit you. So again, and this applies if you're living in Canada or if you're in UK or wherever, right? You're going to have to find those places where you, as someone of your ethnicity, is going to benefit the most, right? And that's just a part of the whole game, right? But reach out to me, Desi Dating Coach. I help out guys of all ethnicities, all backgrounds. It doesn't matter what color you are, what race you are, what cultural background you are. I help you guys out, all right? But until next time, I'll have you looking forward to you guys reaching out to me. Book that free 30-minute call. We can talk on the phone. All right, talk on the phone, and we can get you going with me. All right. So Keep watching and keep approaching.